flat out wrong about what effective means. You're flat out wrong about how effective it is.
I'm using your definition of effective.
My definition of effective? No, you said like it gives you the virus and like you spread it to other people. No, this is exactly false. If you are vaccinated, you are 1/5 as likely as an unvaccinated person to spread it to someone else. This is
where do you get that data from?
Where do you get that
Let's see.
Moderator, hey, whoa, come on, slow down there. Hey, you're not going to let that one slide. Where'd you get your information? Oh, Niko, you'd like to go on a 12-minute rant? Yes, please. Oh yeah, go on. Okay, yeah. Oh yeah, I can give you a couple more minutes. Yeah, no, keep talking. All right, good. Okay. All right, yeah, Jangles. All right, everybody, friend of the shoe, Jangles Science Lab, apparently took to the debates and has done a mighty debate, which I would like to check out. So we're going to watch some of Jangles versus Niko House on the topic of Ivermectin.
Are we live on YouTube? Give me 1 second.
Oh, it's the convo couch.
So it's not that ivermectin is being scrutinized. Yeah, ivermectin's been used for a long time. It has been deemed safe by the FDA when used, on label with being used, like how it's supposed to be used. But the issue that people are taking, with it is that that's completely far removed from like what the actual issue is. People are not getting prescribed ivermectin by their doctor. They are going to livestock centers to get horse paste. And yes, these two like substances can be used. Like the chemical itself might be the same, but the dosages, how it interacts with other medications that you might have, the effects, the unsupervision that's happens when you just take things from a livestock center. Yeah, there's some stuff there to make fun of, and I think it's completely fair to do.
I know it's got to be fixable.
So yeah, we'll get into a little bit more like why ivermectin, why this debate needs a little bit more nuance than we're seeing it. Because I'm not going to be like. I might not be what you think I am on ivermectin, but it's the second one I'm taking the biggest issue with, because a lot of people are taking ivermectin, going to livestock centers and like self-medicating instead of getting the vaccine, and I think that's an issue. Like at this point in now it's September of 2021. To me, if you like are scrutinizing the jab and you are scientifically like minded, I don't think those two things can coexist, because you have all the data you would ever possibly need to say that the vaccine, while it's not risk-free, just like any other form of medication or inoculation, it's not risk-free. It is safe and effective by any measure of like actual like scientific literacy. So they want to cut it there. So,
Niko, go ahead.
I'm sorry. So yeah, you are correct. There are some people who feel so desperate to avoid getting the jab, and instead even having to go to a vet or whoever to go get quote unquote horse paste, which I would not recommend for anybody.
Well, Avel, it makes sense in the desperation aspect of it, right? Like I can see if people were so desperate to get anything to help them, and they don't have like access to proper healthcare, they don't have access to medication, they don't have access to anything, and their favorite podcaster has told them that ivermectin is shown in clinical studies to be incredibly effective at treating COVID-19, and then the doctors will not prescribe it to you, so you have no access to it normally. You find out the only way you can buy it legally over the counter is by buying the paste for horses. Then you find yourself in the situation that is America.
But then you would have to actually reconcile with the fact that there was a necessity.
It's sad more than anything.
To go get horse paste instead of getting a generic drug that had been available for decades, literally decades. And I know that there's this idea that, it's not being used what it's supposed to be used for. But according to who? Because according to the research, humans have been using ivermectin since 6 or 7 years after it was originally invented for animals. That's actually normal. Animals and humans use a lot of the same medicine because our biochemistry works in very similar ways. Like my dog will take a painkiller and it is ibuprofen in a similar way, but at a different dosage that I would take ibuprofen. But the thing about ivermectin, which I find hilarious, is that in actuality, ivermectin is historically one of the safest drugs in history. In the history of medicine. That's why the FDA had previously approved it. That's why the FDA approved it specifically for humans. And the fact that all of a sudden the medication that was approved.
Just I got to put disclaimers up, because yes, no, it is not incredibly safe. Depending on like it's safe to take if a doctor prescribes it to you and you take it for the like your weight and volume. It can also be incredibly dangerous, like any other serious medication.
Specifically for humans, all of a sudden becomes demonized. It's weird that nobody has any problem. With accepting that. Well, at least, for the people who are trying to argue the jab over ivermectin. But the reality of the situation is, if ivermectin was legitimately accepted as a reasonable treatment for COVID, and we'll get into the fact that it is indeed a reasonable treatment for COVID, and that the type of virus that COVID is, ivermectin has been treating for decades. Once again, it isn't just for parasites; it's for other viruses as well. But if they accepted that as a reasonable treatment, all of a sudden, the emergency authorization would be taken away. Then
worms and parasites aren't viruses. I hope he's gonna make that distinction. I don't posture to be a science man, big old IQ over here, but I do know the difference.
Pfizer wouldn't be able to funnel money into their coffers. And then you see how shit rolls downhill from there. So what you need to be able to explain to me in this debate is why on earth should I accept an argument that was created and crafted by Big Pharma in defense of a vaccine that was given exclusive rights to Big Pharma, not open patent, so we can use a Sputnik vaccine, so we can use a vaccine for China, so that we can use one of Cuba's. Nope, but just Moderna, Pfizer, and Johnson & Johnson.
All right, that makes more sense.
You need to explain to me how we can go through these mental hula hoops of, the generic drug that was safe for decades, doing exactly what we're asking it to do right now.
Yeah, Niko has a really nice place. If this isn't like a green screen background, that's a gorgeous home. Podcasting pays off.
Not just safe, safest. Literally Nobel Peace Prize nomination type safe. Why is it that that's now being hyper scrutinized? But now, if you scrutinize a drug,
it's a background.
The vaccine, once again, made by pharma who lied about clinical trials and just got sued by the government 3 years ago because of it. Okay, Johnson & Johnson, who the government said was.
That's weird. That's weird. Why would you do that? I don't understand. Like, I can understand putting yourself in like a newsroom or the Bat Cave. Like, the choice is yours. You have all the imagination you can. Like, whatever you dream, you can have behind you with a green screen. But you chose to have this really bougie home. All right, yeah, sure. I'm just saying that's weird.
Causing blood clots. That wasn't us, and that's one of the more traditional vaccine technologies. Like, the same pharmaceutical industry that is paid that is funded 75%.
Big Worm is paying.
The same pharmaceutical industry that funds 75% of the FDA. Like, why are we accepting their framing of this entire conversation as if they are like credible at all, but not trusting the quote unquote science that's been available for decades?
Justin, I'm going to give you 4 minutes to kind of get into this right now because that's how much time Niko used. And I want you to also address what he said. Of course, I think that's the reason for the laugh. I could be wrong. Was the fact that it is kind of funny that people are using like horse stock when we know it is also made for humans. And you kind of mentioned in the beginning when we got started that you're not like way anti Ivermectin. But I also want you to kind of elaborate too as well from your opening statement and take the whole 4 minutes to do so, sir, about the data that's being given to us that you're talking about. Go ahead, Justin.
Oh no, the self-mute.
Is this microphone on?
Sorry, there we go. I muted myself. That's my bad.
All right, start over. You're going to get 4 minutes. Take your time, buddy.
All right, so just want to say up front, I would rather you interrupt me than try to like remember 85 things I just said. Okay, seriously, please interrupt me. All right, so there are a couple things in here. Yeah, like the fact that the vaccine's not open source, like that's shitty. All right, but that's a separate conversation. We can talk about like the rollout, how people make money. We can talk about that, but that's separate from the effectiveness argument. And right now, there is no data like to suggest that like even if it was 100% like profit motivated, that doesn't mean it's not effective. Like if you think about like, the profit motive for a pharmaceutical company, as shitty as they may be, as horrible as they may be, one of the profit motives is to make an effective drug. All right, so right now, with the science of like it being safe and effective, we already know this. There have been 3 billion with a B, billion as in boy, people who have gotten at least 1 dose of a vaccine. And of course, there are different types of different like vaccines out there. But the fact is, if we had like widespread like horrible side effects, we would know about it right now. This is not a conspiracy theory that would like survive that level of people. This like the biggest inoculation event in the entire history of mankind. And I think you pointed to a few things that like I think go way against.
Oh, I have it on
125.
Vaccine
wasn't safe. Like, why would the government why would Johnson & Johnson like recall one of the viruses? Like they've said, hey, this causes blood clots. Let's hold on for a second.
Well, that wasn't Johnson & Johnson's choice. That was the FDA's.
Fuck yeah, FDA. There was like they found it. There was some, like even though it was like 6 out of like millions of doses, that was still in medical trials. That's still enough to like be enough of a concern to like halt that, to like to readjust and like look at that. I think that goes against your point. There's also like it doesn't matter if ivermectin is safe. Like the reason it's like the FDA came out and said don't fucking do this is because you shouldn't self-medicate. Usually, you definitely shouldn't take medications meant for animals that are 8 times your size and take them. Like that's why it was like please don't go out and do this. Like even regardless of how safe a medication is, if you take it in high enough doses, it can be dangerous, and that's why the FDA had to come out against it. All right, so like yeah, and ivermectin might be safe. That doesn't mean it's effective. If ibuprofen, that's another drug you brought up. If ibuprofen was being taken in the exact same way, we'd be saying the exact same things about it. If you're taking ibuprofen,
I don't want to interrupt. So can you define effective for me? What do you define?
I don't want to interrupt.
Right now, so effective can mean effective usually means it prevents symptomatic or asymptomatic cases in somebody. That's how usually the trials mean it. Now, efficacious and effectiveness are sometimes used interchangeably. It's like a kind of a semantics, but right now the definition that I'm working off of is effectiveness means it prevents symptomatic or asymptomatic. So like you can get the infection, or rather, if you get the infection, it's not effective anymore. That's the definition you're using?
I mean, if that's what you want to use, that's fine.
All right, that's the, yeah, but what definition are you using?
No, I'm just asking you. I mean,
going by
you're all right. There's several different definitions of effectiveness that have been
Gotcha.
thrown around. So I'm just because you use it, so I'm
Buddy.
trying to make sure that we're on the same page. That's all.
Okay, I'll try to be consistent when I say effectiveness.
So, according to Webster's, the ability, effectiveness, the ability to produce a specific result or to exert a specific measurable influence. Very simple, easy. That way we don't need to get stuck in pedantry and we can just move on.
To the best of my knowledge, it means like any asymptomatic or symptomatic infection is stopped.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, even someone who has like no symptoms or mild symptoms, that would not fall under like, it wouldn't work. Whatever.
Gotcha.
Yeah, go back to the ibuprofen example. It doesn't matter if it's safe. It matters if it's effective. That's what we're concerned about. Like there's no reason. Like even if ivermectin worked, like why would we have a solution? The vaccine is effective. It is safe by any sort of like reasonable measure of the data. It is safe and effective. Why would we not just use the thing that we know works? Because the data on ivermectin, it's not saying ivermectin doesn't work. It's saying it's conflicting. It's saying that it doesn't reach that threshold of yes, definitely, it definitely works.
Okay.
Is that good, Justin?
It's
I can't
the
speak
video.
for you.
Nico, obviously, there's a
Keeps
lot to
happening
kind of
every time
unpack there
someone turns
and
on
answer back for and do it at your leisure
volume
too.
too
But
much or
a few
something.
things I want you to keep in mind. Justin did mention that 3 billion people did take it, and we haven't seen any side effects right out the gate. And I also wanted you to kind of talk about a little bit more about the effectiveness and what is effective, because there's a lot of reports coming out right now saying that antibodies from natural immunity are a lot stronger than that of the virus. So, that of the vaccine. And please, gentlemen, don't forget about the data. We need to also address the data. Go ahead, Nico. Take 4 minutes.
So I want to read an abstract from.
I mean, I can answer that one, Convo Counts. To get the antibodies from the virus itself, you have to get the virus itself. You're not genuinely prescribing that people go get COVID because it'll make them more powerful. I mean, you realize the dangers in saying something like that.
Ahmed's 5-day ivermectin treatment for COVID-19 may reduce the duration of the illness. Ivermectin, a U.S. Food and Drug. This is from February of 2021.
Even if that was true.
U.S. Food and Drug Administration approved antiparasitic agent was found to inhibit severe acute respiratory syndrome, coronavirus 2 or SARS-CoV-2 replication in vitro. A randomized double-blind placebo-controlled trial was conducted to determine the rapidity of viral clearance and safety of ivermectin among adult SARS-CoV-2 patients. And the long and short of that is that it actually reduces the duration of the illness, which effectively is the only goal of the vaccine, but with no negative side effects so far. Right? Because I know you said you defined effectiveness as the prevention of or the reduction of the virus itself or the symptoms. There's a huge problem with that. The CDC actually doesn't agree with you. Getting the COVID vaccine will, will and has given people the virus.
That's how vaccines.
It is not stop. No. This is not conjecture. This is not my opinion. This is Dr. Fauci's words. This is the CDC director's words.
Okay.
That's
I think Justin was saying that's how vaccine works. Is that what you were trying to say, real quick?
Yeah, of course it gives you the virus. Like the entire point is
but it also
respond to it.
But it also spreads the virus. See, the research has shown when it comes to mRNA vaccines, and this isn't my.
I need more disclaimers to be putting up and on the walls. Okay, so no one has ever told anyone. Not a single medication producer, not a single pharmacy has said that the vaccine is 100% effective. Not a single one of them. None of them said that. Okay, they've given you very clear that like it's very rare to get things in life where someone can be like, hey, this is going to be exactly 96% effective, and then have that just bear out in the results and be like, wow, you were actually entirely accurate in how you told me this was going to work. That's against infection. There's so many things down the list, right? Like there's infection, that's the first one. There's symptoms, there's getting sick, there's getting so sick you have to get to the hospital. It protects you against the very first one. And then each subsequent level, yes, it protects you against those as well. That's why when you look at the data, the people who are going into hospitals who have been fully vaccinated, it's like a fraction of the percentage of those who have not been vaccinated at all. Like the results speak for themselves.
Right, this is the research from almost a decade ago. Is that the reason that mRNA,
like Dead just said in chat, condoms aren't 100% effective. So raw dog, like every single day, like what the fuck?
mRNA vaccine specifically, which is a different technology than Johnson & Johnson, which we'll get into in a second. But mRNA technology specifically,
like, hey, I'm sorry, baby. I know we should be wearing a condom, but hey, 99.9% effective. Do you really want to take that 0.1% chance? I mean, come on. We might as well just roll the dice.
It has not been widely implemented because it doesn't aim to teach your antibodies to completely eradicate the virus. What it does instead is only train your bodies to reduce the symptoms of that virus while never actually trying to destroy it. So when you pass on that virus, all you have done in actuality is teach it how to fight your antibodies without actually ever giving it any legitimate opposition.
I'm sorry, this is just so far removed from reality.
No, this isn't far removed from no. This is decade-old research.
Let us finish up, Justin. I'll let you respond. Go ahead.
This is decade-old research. This is before any of us were even talking about a COVID-19. This is one of the reasons why the mRNA vaccine had not been widely used in the past. And by the way, even the traditional vaccines, they've come to find out in a recent study that getting the flu vaccine does do a pretty good job of significantly reducing your chances of getting it. It's like a 65% effectiveness. The problem is, after that, if you get the vaccine again, not only does it work worse, but it increases the likelihood of you getting the most severe symptoms of the flu vaccine. And that's also because the flu vaccine mutates because of how many people got they may have gotten this vaccine, but then they got a different vaccine the year before, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it mutates. Okay, that's all well and good. But we were told that mandates are being put out specifically because
this is one of those things where, like, you know, debater B had 4 minutes on the clock. And within a minute of that, Niko was like, excuse me, I don't want to interrupt, but I want to ask you a question. There's just some pedantry to get out. What do you think effective means? It's like, okay, you defined that. All right. Okay, well, it's good you defined it. Now I'm going to go on another completely pseudoscientific rant about how I think vaccines work. And it's going to be, like, mind-boggling.
This vaccine is going to solve the problem. This is how you stop it from spreading. That way it won't mutate. 70% of the population will get herd immunity. They're throwing in all these quote unquote immunization terms and these vaccine terms that have been traditionally used in the past, but they're not even actually addressing the fact that herd immunity is for something like maybe polio. This is a different type of virus. This is a SARS virus.
20
you can't
seconds.
Talk about herd immunity. You can't talk about herd immunity with a SARS virus.
20 seconds
next
on Jangles.
the Johnson & Johnson thing. Yeah, when you're talking about how do we know money it could potentially be affecting the outcome of at least the presentation of the outcome of these trials, which, by the way, haven't even been concluded yet. It won't be concluded until 2023. But either way, Johnson & Johnson's different technology.
All right.
They didn't get the big contract. They didn't get the $32 billion. They didn't get all the money that Pfizer and Moderna got. And so, yeah, it's okay with scrutinizing to maintain the idea that you are willing to scrutinize. Then why aren't we seeing the same level of scrutiny accepted when it comes to Moderna or Pfizer, which are specifically the mRNA vaccines?
All right. Justin, thank you for being patient. I'm going to give you a little extra time on this one. Go ahead and respond to that.
Fuck, dude, that was so much. Again, you're having a separate conversation. If you want to scrutinize funding, if you want to scrutinize people making money, you want to scrutinize the fact that it's not open source, fuck yeah, hell yeah. But you're letting that conflate, like, you're just flat out wrong about what effective means. You're flat out wrong about how effective it is.
I'm using your definition of effective.
My definition of effective? No, you said, like, it gives you the virus and, like, you spread it to other people. No, this is exactly false. If you are vaccinated, you are 1/5 as likely as an unvaccinated person to spread it to someone else. This is
where do you get that data from?
Where do you get that from?
Please,
moderator. Hey, whoa, come on, slow down there. Hey, you're not going to let that one slide. Where'd you get your information? Oh, Niko, you'd like to go on a 12-minute rant? Yes, please. Oh, yeah, go on. Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah, I can give you a couple more minutes. Yeah, no, keep talking. All right, good. Okay. All right, yeah, Jangles.
Me for my sources.
The CDC director literally just said that it specifically doesn't stop it from spreading. The CDC director said this.
I'm sorry. Can you tell
me? The CDC director said that.
I'm sorry. No. I want you to tell me the difference between what I just said and what you just said. I want to see if you know what you just did. Tell me the difference.
No, you just said the virus doesn't get. If you get the vaccine, you have a lesser chance of spreading the virus.
Yes, about 1/5. Now tell me how that differs from what you just said. I want to see if you know.
The CDC director said that getting the vaccine in no way affects your ability to spread the virus.
Bullshit! You just changed what you said because you realized it. It doesn't mean that you're not going to spread it. You're just far.
Hold on, guys. Go ahead, Justin.
All right, no, you weaseled out of that because you knew you were wrong. What I said is you are about 1/5 as likely. Unvaccinated people are 5 times as likely to spread it and about 20 times more likely to be hospitalized. That's what I said. What you tried to
Where are you getting? Can you explain to me really quick where you're getting that number from?
You know, I'm gonna link the entire document, okay?
That's fine.
Niko, if you can pull up any source where you were talking about mRNA, that would be great too as well. While he's taking the time, guys, please. I don't want to ask one person for a source, not the other.
Source.
The clock stopped. Justin, go ahead. Find out what you got.
I want to put the entire thing in the group chat that we had. All right, but when I try to like Control F because there's 11 pages. Fuck. Like I'm gonna Control F.
Put the link there so people can grab it.
29. No, well, 29 doesn't help, does it? All right, come on.
All right, while you guys are looking, I want to thank everybody for joining on in.
CDC study shows unvaccinated people are 20 times more likely. There we go. Study also found that unvaccinated people were 5 times more likely.
So it's from the CDC.
Yes. It's from the CDC. They're fine. So what you tried to do was say that you tried to like weasel this language in that like the CDC director did say, yeah, you can still spread it if you're vaccinated. No one has ever disputed that. I didn't dispute that. But the undeniable fact is you're far less likely to spread it, right? Because the virus doesn't have an opportunity.
Jangles doesn't speak this fast naturally. I have it on 125 because it's a very long debate and we don't have time for all of it. This is what it sounds like normally.
Symptoms are far reduced. The virus doesn't have an opportunity to like get into your lungs as much. You're far
it's a
less
more
likely
calm
to
now,
aspirate
a little more zen.
That would spread to other people.
Right?
It doesn't mean it's 100% bulletproof.
Husky
it's also why they said like, yeah, we should still
7777.
probably
Thank
wear
you
masks
for subscribing.
for a while longer. Like that
Feel
makes
more
perfect
chill.
sense. All of that tracks.
This is like the CBD.
Like,
of
what part
debates.
about that do you not agree with?
The fact that the study that just came out that says that a person who contracts COVID has the exact same amount of virus in their nose and throat as somebody who has a vaccine.
Then why are they less likely? Why are they less likely to spread it?
Hold up. Who's less likely? Say it again.
So a vaccinated person is less
No.
likely to spread it.
That is a claim that is being made based off of definitions, speaking of manipulation, that are being manipulated.
Oh,
because if you
horseshit.
no, because according to the CDC now,
Come on.
if no, this is CDC. I don't listen. I don't do conjecture. This is CDC saying this. If the CDC, according to the CDC, if you get the vaccine, if you die or experience adverse reactions within 14 days, it doesn't matter. It's not going to be reported because you're still considered unvaccinated. So please square that circle for me. How is your data you're getting even close to being reliable when that in and of itself, my grandfather died within 32 hours.
Do you know how vaccines work?
Oh, no, let me finish. 36 hours of getting the vaccine, my grandfather died. They didn't let him report it. They said it was a heart attack. If the CDC is manipulating the death, if you had your symptoms reduced within 14 days by the vaccine, the credit would go to the vaccine. Yes or no?
No. Do you know how vaccines work?
Yes or no? Yes or no? It's a yes or no answer.
What? I'm sorry.
Your symptoms are reduced. You got the vaccine. You got COVID, and then within a 7-day period, for whatever reason, your symptoms got significantly reduced. Would they not credit the vaccine?
I really don't know what you're asking. Say it one more time, because I'm trying to figure out like how you think vaccines
work. If you got COVID and you receive, or if you got COVID and say somehow you contract, excuse me, if you got the vaccine and somehow within a 14-day period you contracted COVID, which seems to be very likely at this point, and you contract and you got the symptoms reduced within a 5 to 7 day period with no hospitalization, yay for you. Would they credit the vaccine with preventing you from getting severe symptoms and stop and not going to the hospital? Would they credit
Justin, go ahead and answer that, and go ahead and back into your rest of your what you were talking about. So go ahead.
Okay, I don't know if they would be able to say a causal link there. We're looking at big causational data. We're big observational data, which is what you have to do when you're determining effectiveness. All right, I want you to. How do you think vaccines work? No, how do you think vaccines work? No, you don't get the jab and you're instantly immune to it. Like a vaccine is like training your immune system to identify.
It takes you like 2 weeks too.
And developing.
They tell you that specifically.
Developing like
no, that's not how the mRNA vaccine works. Where are you getting that from?
I'm getting it from like.
Hold on, let him. All right, guys, calm down.
Sorry,
Justin,
when they explain how it works.
Go ahead, Justin gets a chance to finish up. Don't get upset. Go ahead, Justin.
You didn't address anything I said. Like the CDC came out and said you're 5 more times more likely to spread the disease.
And the more viruses you get, the more mRNA it is. That's how it works. Checkmate.
Unvaccinated. You're 20 times more
likely to experience
severe symptoms that result in hospitalization. You didn't respond to that
whatsoever. I reject reality.
Why not?
Shit.
I mean,
I reject your reality.
You can.
Do you want to talk about how the vaccine work, Justin? Do you want to finish up?
Yeah, whichever one.
All right. Well, now I don't want to spread any misinformation. That's how vaccines typically work. Yes.
And guys,
like all vaccines, like it's training your immune system to respond to the virus. It might not work with antibodies. I might be wrong on that. And if I am, I'll take the L on it. But I do know how that's generally how vaccines work. It might work through a different.
Hey, Husky Ops, thanks for giving it your 1 sub. The spectacular Schneiderman.
But I can say with certainty that it's just training your immune system, and that takes time.
Okay, Niko, I'm going to let you answer, but guys, this is why I asked about the data in the beginning, because it's obvious that when you guys are speaking about what you believe in, you both don't believe the data, or you're looking at the data differently, and that's why I wanted to address that. But Niko, I'm going to let you answer Justin's retort to Justin's statement.
So let's just say that I would like to accept this idea that you're less likely to spread the variant. They said what, 1/5? Is that what you said? I just want to make sure.
Yeah, 1/5.
Okay. The problem with that is I just told you that within a 14-day window, if you did spread the vaccine, if you did get hospitalized, if you did die, if you did experience adverse reactions within that 14-day window, according to the CDC, it's reported as an unvaccinated death and unvaccinated hospitalization. Everybody that I know that has experienced any type of adverse reaction, and there have been many, including, once again, my grandfather.
Are you talking about like adverse reactions to the vaccine or death?
To the vaccine.
Okay,
to the vaccine.
That's not what we're talking about. No, that's not what we're
yes, we are. We're talking about spreading it and not spreading it.
Spreading
so we're talking about comparing the vaccine to not having the vaccine. That's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about.
There's so many times when I'm like, okay, I guess I kind of understand the point that Niko's trying to make, but he's factually incorrect about this. But every single time I've been duped. Like midway through the sentence, I'm like, oh no, that's not what you're trying to say at all. Wow, I I'm steel manning you way too much here. I have no idea what you're talking about right now, sir. My word. This basically that I lost it. That face encapsulated everything.
Studying the coronavirus. Hold on a second.
The
Just
coronavirus. Then you talked about
So what I if I can try and condense this, what I believe he's saying is that if you were to get the vaccine, you became sick or you had some kind of complication and you died, the CDC would not record that death as a vaccinated person who has died. They would record that as an unvaccinated person. Now, I don't know anything related to that. I don't know if that is true. I don't know if he's making that statement up. I don't know if that happens and there's a purpose behind it. But I believe that is the point that he's trying to emphasize right now. If I'm trying to get through all of this, I mean, right now my brain is doing this face. Like this face right now is basically every single time I try to wrap my head around the concepts that he's doing, but
adverse reactions to the vaccine. These are not the same thing.
No, that we're talking about.
I don't think
So if you'd have let me actually finish my thought, I would have actually you would have picked up when I'm laying down.
So my understanding of how typically vaccines in relation to viruses work is that they would give your body a weakened version of the virus so that your body won't be infected by it, won't be harmed by it. It's the risk to you is quite low. However, it'll allow your body to learn how to develop antibodies specifically for that virus. And so in the future, should you catch the real thing, you'll be very well protected against it. That's the traditional way that we used to do vaccinations. mRNA technology is different. But what he is implying, I think, through the course of this is that the vaccine gives you coronavirus. I think that's the point he's been trying to say, right? Whereas mRNA just don't work that way.
Oh, like I just said. So all of these
they
things
train your body how to recognize the virus itself, how to recognize the spike protein at first, and then the second one is how to develop antibodies for it. I remembered the talk. I did it.
Can happen within that 14.
mRNA vaccines are different. It uses mRNA, a special kind of genetic information, to get your body to produce a fragment of the virus, and that way your immune system learns to recognize it. Yeah, what I said only less smart, but I still got it. And I'm not even a science man. I'm an internet clown.
14-day period, and it would be reported as an unvaccinated hospitalization. Unvaccinated adverse reaction.
I did the right explanation.
Unvaccinated spreading of the virus.
Noise.
Is that why you're saying, Niko, that Justin's statement that you're 5 times likely to catch it? Is that why you're bringing in the statistic right now?
I feel like poor Jangles can't even debate these points because it's like, well, how am I to debate a cartoon like a figment? Like, I don't understand what you're saying right now. The thing that you've characterized this whole, that's not how this works. That's not how it, yes, I disagree. That's all I can say. What you're saying is factually wrong. It's very demonstrably wrong. This is, I think you do not have a cursory understanding of how any of these things work, and yet you were given a platform to speak about them. This speaks to a greater issue, I feel.
Exactly.
Just so we understand we're on the same page.
Holy shit.
Exactly.
Justin, do you
How
want
can
to...
it?
This debate is worth it just for how much it's breaking Jangles' brain. It's like, I have no...
All right, Niko.
This is so much worse.
Let Justin reply, Niko. Hold on. Go ahead, Justin.
Go ahead.
Why do you think that like that 2-week waiting period, it takes time for your immune system to like adapt to the vaccine? Like you were confused.
Well, yeah, so you're vaccinated.
Hold on.
Vaccinated.
Hold on.
You think vaccinated is like an on or off switch?
Oh, no, he's 100% vaccinated. Oh, yeah. Invincible. Push him into the COVID crowd. He's got it.
Shit, ask the CDC, bro. You tell me.
Hold on. Let
No,
Justin
if you're saying you are not
Justin,
vaccinated, if you're saying they don't count you as vaccinated until 14 days after the vaccination, that's correct. That is correct. The vaccine, like your immune system hasn't had time to like make use of the vaccine. That is how vaccines work.
So why are people getting sick the next day?
Version.
Why are people getting sick?
He just explained that the vaccine will not give you any form of protection for 2 weeks. Okay, I hear what you're saying. Why do people get sick the next day? You can't make that one up. Yeah, that's what I just said. I agree. Why are people getting sick the next day? Because you have not built up the antibody.
Sick the next day then.
Hold on, Justin. Answer the Justin. You can address like what Justin's saying is that's how vaccines work. But if a person does get their second shot and within 7 days they come down with COVID, how would you counteract the narrative? The fact that CDC is counting them as unvaccinated when they've already gotten the shot. So I mean, is that fair math? Go ahead.
Okay, so now I finally understand it. So the CDC is saying basically that up to 2 weeks is necessary, and they tell you this if you get vaccinated. When you go to get vaccinated, like you need at least 2 weeks before your body has properly developed the amount of antibodies for it to be able to recognize the spike protein and for you to be defended against the virus. Up until that point, you are still vulnerable. So the CDC says that. So someone who has gotten the vaccine and then within that 2-week period gets sick and or dies, yes, they're marking them as unvaccinated because they have not yet developed the antibodies that the vaccine would give you. That's what they've been yelling back and forth, I think, for 15 minutes about now, and what they are failing to understand on the top. And I am also taking this face for future use. I'm sorry, Jangles, if you're watching in the background. I'm going to call it, "Are you kidding me?"
Yeah, no, yeah, that is absolutely fair. Because one, you don't know how long, when they got COVID. They could have like got the COVID, it incubated for a couple of days, and then they got the vaccine, and then symptoms started to appear before the immune system could like trigger to it. Yeah, that's fair. That is a fair definition of how vaccines.
So what you're telling me is the symptoms could appear, which by the research now, you get the same amount of virus in your nose and throat.
Hollow Shrine, that's good. If I order a bulletproof vest and it says will arrive in 2 weeks, how come I can get shot and die the next day? So what are you saying? Like, why are they recording that as a non-bulletproof vest death? Like, why would they do that?
Vaccinated, if you get the symptoms.
Do you get any protection after the first jab? So after the first jab and after the 2-week waiting period, your body is better at recognizing the spike protein. So yes, you'll see the numbers. They're not like anywhere near what double vaccination rates are, but they will reduce the amount of times. Like I said, there's a ladder, okay? At the very top is infection. So it's going to protect you from infections up to a certain point, maybe like 60%. That's just rough numbers I'm throwing out. Then there's like, are you going to feel sick? Are you going to develop symptoms? Are you going to be bedridden? Are you going to go to the hospital? It provides you protection against all of those, and it usually has a pretty high efficacy rate against preventing people from getting to the hospital. That being said, no one, not a single person is saying it's invincibility juice. Like once you take this, you are now invincible, or once you take this, you can no longer spread it to anyone else. That's not something anyone has ever said.
Symptoms, because that's basically what you're getting is COVID, and whether or not,
I mean, like 3 billion people have taken at least one. That's 3 billion different human beings, you know, like those are all very different. Like you all have different bodies, you all have different immune systems, you all have different levels of fitness, age, how you respond to that. Like it's going to vary between each person.
You're vaccinated or
once I'm vaccinated, I can have unprotected sex, right? In Roblox, all right? In Roblox. Have at her at Roblox.
Vaccinated. Okay. So the symptoms appear after you get after you get the vaccine.
Condoms work, everybody.
But they don't count you as being vaccinated, and you don't see any issue with that logic, Justin?
No.
Assault Discordiac, I'm sorry.
All right.
The
Let's
royal
say we have 2 people who go to the gym. Okay, they go to the gym 5 days a week. All right?
Okay.
One of those people going to the gym 5 days a week has been at it for 2 years. One has been at it for a week. Right? Will we count them as the same? They are gym goers? No, because it takes time. The entire purpose of a vaccine is training your immune system to identify an antigen. Now, again, I cannot tell you like the science behind exactly like what the mRNA sequence is, but it takes time for the immune system to like be trained.
Well, I think I've seen enough. Unless you're going to start, I mean, I feel like there's not a lot of productivity coming out of this. There's a lot of
information that's from theirs.
Oh, may.
You ignored it because it was
include
convenient.
unverified
So you
information.
take it. No.
Hold on,
so
pause.
then you
No,
take
no.
that information
I need to read that part
and do
again.
more investigation on it.
You've been telling this whole time, and I was actually giving it to you. I was going to let you have the argument.
Guys,
But you
before
are
we-
when you
when
are
you're yelling
like
over
reporting
each
these
other.
numbers as if they are facts.
Hold on,
as if
no,
they are verified deaths resulting from
pause.
vaccinations. You're
Pause.
spreading misinformation.
Pause.
I'll
Wait.
say it.
Nah,
I know you
let's-
don't like that word, but that's what you're doing.
Okay. Hey, Jangles is here. Jangles. Spectacular, as usual, obviously, given the conditions. I will tell you this. I know chat didn't enjoy it as much as me. That was funny. That was really fucking funny. Just more funny because it's kind of like, I at first, I could see the thought process going on in your head. I could see you doing that thing where you're like, he's not saying what I think is he saying? No, he wouldn't say that. That's no one's gonna propose that. But then when you realize that you're kind of like, okay, well, I don't know how to explain this to you other than you simply don't understand what you're talking about. And here it is. But hey, Can everyone here? I didn't know Jangles was still lurking. Everyone here can give Jangles some easy claps for once again performing spectacularly. Like I've said before, I think Jangles is the debate champion of the internets, but yet not a debate bro. I don't understand how you've done it, Jangles. You've become an incredible human being in the process, and yet never a debate bro. Always wonderful and pleasant. If you don't know this, I've seen people in like watching debates that have like chats just moving like this, and Jangles is just in there like telling everyone to watch out for their own like mental health. Like, hope everyone's doing well. Be sure to take like a walk every now and then, get some water. I'm like, that's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Everyone go subscribe to Jangles Science Labs channel, formerly SJW Debates, because he's based. And that's all there is to it. He's based. All right. Do you want movies and Serfs watching the movies? So then come over to the new channels. It's the Serfs cinema. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Can you do the thing, you know, that thumbs up and comment and all those things that help us out in the algorithm that controls every aspect of our lives? Also, if you happen to have a Facebook account, can you delete it? Like just delete it. You should probably delete your Facebook account because it's not a great company. But hey, if you can't do that for whatever reason, I understand. And could you also go to facebook.com/thesurftimes then and give us a little like and a follow. We're just trying to push back against the fact that people like Ben Shapiro happen to dominate the platform entirely. And when everyone asks why do older generations believe the things they believe, one of the problems is the majority of them on social media use Facebook. So to counter that, we're just going to be on there too now. Also, if you happen to have a union or a worker co-op or even a leftist project, podcast, website, Zoom, MySpace, it doesn't matter. We will advertise it for free on this channel. All you got to do is go to weareserfs.com and use the forms that we got there, weareserfs.com. Thanks, everybody.
To our gods, Tigro and Peyton El Jus, we pray to you, our sky daddies, to keep us safe from harm. To our monarchs, Tom Spiker and the Tim Caucus, we shall humbly clean your golden toilets in your spatial palaces. To our lords, Ultra Wolf, Evan Nudie, Trevor R., Alexander Thaler, Ryan Lubin, and Jeff Lamb, we are eternally grateful for this small segment of land for us to toil and work. To our knights, Ariane McCarthy, Daniel Sutton, Ants Are Still Running the World, Coulter Smith, Val 9000, Jenna Tall, Dark Puppy, Quiet One 85, Anna Loves Riley, Omni, Riley and Anna, Poodlehawk, Multimundi, Trevor Janis, Lemmy 101, Anthropophojack, Sharon 42, Chronic to Hemphog, Catherine, Bone Jenny, Radical Maniac, Ramona Costa, Jimmy Big Nuts, Violent Orchard, Sophie Baby, Political Puppy, Andreas Chiringuito, Zach Christensen, Jopi, Josh Mickelson, Todd Buckingham, and Todd Lajeunesse. We raise our glasses, we raise our swords, and we salute you, our friends. And to Lance, you are the wind beneath my wings.